What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome to episode 99 of the Axis of Combat podcast. I'm one half of your host, Hugo the Boss. Hugo got next, joined by my co-host.
It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna. On today's episode, we're going to be breaking down UFC 315, Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. And on the boxing side, we got a couple of fights, including a main and co-main we're going to be covering from Top Rank. But before we get into any of that, my brother, tell them what the deal is.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have Willie Cat Daniel Santos going one-on-one with the Korean Tiger, Jeong Lee. Santos, 11-2 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 30 years old. Lee, also 11-2, fighting out of South Korea, hailing from South Korea, 29 years old. Daniel Santos stepping in with 2 weeks notice, up a weight class to face Lee here. For the most part, I'm kind of envisioning this fight going to be a stand-up affair. I don't think he's going to hit the ground that much. I think if Lee wants to win this fight, he should probably throw on the singlet and take my man down. Santos, even though he's going to be at a size and reach disadvantage, I think he's the better technical striker overall. I like his cardio. I like his pace. He's a little relentless, similar to a previous opponent Lee had in Hyder Emil. Hyder Emil straight disrespected Lee, walked that man down, beat dog shit out of him. He didn't knock him out. Referee had to jump in, but absolutely fucking smoked him in the octagon. That fight ended in like under a minute. I'm not saying Santos is going to have the same success, but I think Santos stylistically is very similar. And the only way to really stifle the man's offense is either to take him down, take away his tools, or if you fight him like Julio Arce did, where he kept him on the outside, used the jab, constantly moving to his weak side, and kind of just like, you know, outclassed him on the feet. Lee, unfortunately, doesn't have that same kind of footwork that Arce has. He is a technical striker, but a little bit stationary. Lee also has a chin and also has some cardio. I do see this fight going the distance, so give me Santos here for the win.
I'm with you here on this play, and I'm with you on this play because we've seen what Emil did the last fight when he pressured him. He was able to get him against the cage, land big shots. Willie Cat, I feel like, is a more dynamic striker than Emil as well, so I feel like he's going to have more weapons to play with in those instances and in those exchanges. With that said, I'm not going to make this too long. I think Willie Cat's probably going to be a dog in this fight since he's coming in late notice and he's going to be smaller, but size doesn't win fights, skills do. I think he has the better skills. I think he has better weapons to get from A to B. Give me Willie Cat for the play here.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have the Baltic gladiator Modestas Bukauskas going one-on-one with Ian the Hulk Cutelaba. Bukauskas, 17-6 overall, fighting out of England but repping Lithuania, 31 years old. Cutelaba, 19-10-1, fighting out of Vegas, repping Moldova, 31 years old. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is this low on the prelims, I think, for a reason. We have a matchup here. On the Bukauskas side, he is the more technical striker.
Yes.
Technically the more technical striker. That being said, he's low volume. The way I envision this fucking fight going is some kind of wild exchange. Both these guys don't really go the distance in any of their fights. I have to lean Cutelaba by default because he has the wrestling. Bukauskas, on paper, good takedown defense, but when you dig into it, he's been taken down by Zach Pauga and Tyson Pedro. Cutelaba,
horrible fight.
Sorry,
the
I
best.
had to get that in.
No, yeah, listen. He's the best wrestler he's fought. I have bad luck capping Cutelaba fights. I fade him when I'm supposed to be on him. When I'm supposed to be on him, he end up fading me. But I'm picking Cutelaba here. This is a low-end light heavyweight fight, not a fight for the faint of heart. Cutelaba should get this one done.
The low-end theory, according to the Tribe Called Quest, that's what this fight is.
Bars.
And it's a bad fight. Honestly, this is a fight that I don't think responsibly we're giving you as a pick for the podcast, but responsibly we will urge you not to pick a side here. I have to link Cutelaba like my brother because he has a very clear wrestling edge here. Bukauskas is not very good on the floor. Once he's on his back, he's in trouble. He can pop up, I guess, but not really. Like I said, he's fought Zach Pauga and
Tyson Pedro.
Those are the guys who took him down. Yeah. And those guys are not very good with wrestling. Cutelaba is a World Combat Sambo champion. I'm going to leave Cutelaba just for a pick's sake. I love the unders in this fight. I think that's probably where you want to put your money.
How do you like fight ends in KO?
I don't hate it either, but Cutelaba could sub him too. Even though Cutelaba does a lot of his best work with the wrestling when he's ground and pounding. So
Bukauskas also got a sub I think it was like his second to last fight. One of his last wins, he also got a random sub.
Yeah.
It was like a head and arm choke.
It's just it's a Cutelaba fight because who knows? He made.
I think it was on Praknia, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that makes sense because he's ass. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fight where like Cutelaba. It's going to be dictated by Cutelaba. If he wants to keep it standing, it's going to stay standing. If he wants to go to the floor, it's going to go to the floor.
A clear advantage on the floor.
There's too much variance in Cutelaba fights. That's why he's so hard to cap.
Yeah.
Cutelaba for pick stakes, but unders are definitely the way to play this.
Next fight on the card at men's light heavyweight, we have Navajo Stirling going one-on-one with Ivan Erslan. Stirling, perfect. 6-0. Fighting out of New Zealand, repping New Zealand, 27 years old. Erslan is 14-4 overall. Repping Croatia, hailing from Croatia, 33 years old. This is another fight where it's going to be a big-ass slang and banger. Pause. On paper, Ivan's got the experience. I'm going to put experience in quotations. And he also has technically the wrestling edge here. Navajo, the better striker. He's got the more extensive kickboxing background, but a little green in the MMA department. That being said, I kind of like the way Navajo fights, where he fights at a certain distance and he's really good at maintaining that distance. For me, he's the more technical of the two guys. I'm going to be leaning Navajo here for the win. He's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to be the longer guy. Physically, he's going to be the more physical guy. He's the more vascular guy. Ayo, pause on all of that. I do think Erslan's experience is a little fraudulent. He's kind of fought a lot of guys who are a little fugazi, you know, for lack of better terms here. On top of the fact that I don't think he's gonna be able to go from A to B and kind of close that distance that Navajo has. Give me Navajo here for the upset. I don't know if he's the favorite or not. He might be the dog because he might be at a wrestling disadvantage here, but I like Stirling here regardless for the win.
I got Stirling at a -265 and Erslan at a +215.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I'm on your side here with Navajo, but I think you might feel a little more confident than I do. I think Navajo's still green. This is a guy who could not finish Tuco Tokos. Tokos was able to have success against him in that fight too in certain instances. And my thing is, Erslan's boxing is not horrid. It's okay, and he has decent punching power. For me, I'm curious to see what Erslan's knockout prop is here, because I think that's the only way he wins. I don't think he's going to win the minutes in this fight. Navajo's definitely lean. Not sure if it's going to go to the distance or via knockout.
I don't think so. I think this fight doesn't go, and I think this fight ends in KO is probably my gut feeling.
Yeah, I'd go that way too. Navajo's probably the side via knockout, but I'm curious to see what Erslan's knockout prop is. If it's high, like a +4, +500, I'll sprinkle on it, because I just don't think Navajo's very good. He's coming out of city kickboxing. I'm sure they're going to game plan, but he's green, man. He's very green. You can tell. And Tukos was able to clip him. Not hurt him, but he clipped him. Clean clips. So you give Erslan any pocket of space to do the same thing, he will knock you dead. Give me Navajo for the lean via knockout, not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight on the card at women's flyweight, we have Jéssica Andrade going one-on-one with Jasmine Jasudavicius. Andrade, 26-13, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 33 years old. Jasudavicius is 13-3 overall, fighting out of Canada, repping Canada, 36 years old. I'm hoping this fight isn't as low as they currently have it, you know, projected. This is a good fight in my opinion. This is probably one of the fights I am looking forward to watching on this card. Jéssica Andrade, you know, pound for pound, one of the best female fighters ever. Shoo-in, probably Hall of Famer, if I had to guess, first ballot. Jasudavicius, on the other hand, probably a good prospect, a good contender, maybe the future of this division. She's very good in her own right. This is a fight where if Jasmine just goes to her wrestling, that's the most obvious and clearest path. If she wants to keep this standing, I think she can keep it competitive, but it's kind of Andrade's wheelhouse a bit as well. Andrade might be the first woman here to knock out Jasmine as well. I say that because Jasmine is not only hittable, but Andrade hits like a fucking truck. Interesting fight stylistically. Can Andrade get sneaky with some jiu-jitsu shit here too? She can, but I'm gonna be leaning Jasmine here. I think Jasmine just got that dog in her. I think Jasmine obviously has the height and reach, the grappling upside, and overall, she's just more hungry. So I'm just going to be leaning Jasmine here for the win.
Yeah, this is one of the few female fights where I'm actually interested in the under, because you have one girl who's distinctly got the advantage, in my opinion, like with the wrestling, and you have another girl who's distinctly got the advantage on the feet with the power. Jéssica has good jiu-jitsu, and Jasmine has a good chin. So it is an interesting dynamic, but I feel like if it's juiced enough, like there's a lot of good money on it, I'll put half a unit down down on it for the under, especially if it's like 2.5. But this is a fight where it's a big step up in competition for Jazz. This is the first real world champion she's fought. Her last fight was a good step up with Mayra Bueno Silva. She was able to control her and beat her up and mitigate a lot of her submissions, and I feel like she's a better submission artist than Jéssica Andrade. So I don't think Jasmine's gonna get subbed by Andrade. I feel like the threat is gonna be on the feet. If Jazz does wrestle, I think this is a lights out win for her, but if she keeps it standing, she could get knocked the fuck out. This is Jéssica Andrade we're talking about. This is a girl who has distinct one punch knockout power. Like, she just needs to touch you and she will put you in orbit. So for me, the unders are interesting. I'm gonna lean Jazz just because she's gonna be bigger. This is her natural weight class. She has the wrestling edge, so I know if she does get in trouble, she probably could wrestle her down. And the other fun note, Jasmine Jasudavicius is undefeated in Canada. That, for me, with the judges and everything, if this fight's close, they're probably gonna lean my girl, but I just trust Jazz at this point in her career to make good decisions. And you've seen her really go to her strengths as opposed to fighting kind of silly. Jasudavicius, I'm going to say 3rd round decision, but we'll see how we bet it closer to the fight time.
Next fight on the card at men's welterweight, we have proper Mike Malott going one-on-one with Chuck Buffalo, Charles Radtke. Malott, 11-2-1 overall, fighting out of Sacramento, but repping Canada, 33 years old. Radtke, 10-4 overall, fighting out of Salem, Wisconsin, 34 years old. This fight is prime example of technician versus brawler. Both guys, initially I didn't think were very similar, but as I started to dive into some tape, found some decent similarities there, here and there. Both decent strikers. Malott, a little more uncomfortable on the feet, but a little more technical, a little more rangy. Charles Radtke, a little more powerful, a little more, for lack of better terms, he's a brawler. Also a bit of a sniper at the same time. I'd probably give him the striking edge just because he looks a little more comfortable on the feet. When it comes to the ground, both guys have decent grappling. Charles Radtke, probably the better wrestler, probably has better takedown defense. But if it gets to the ground, I think Mike Malott is a jiu-jitsu wizard, and he clearly has the edge there. Cardio is pretty interesting on both guys' ends. I think they both have decent cardio. I think whoever pushes harder is going to look obviously more tired here. Conventional wisdom tells me to take Malott here. He's going to be the hometown guy. He's probably the higher IQ'd fighter, but Charles Radtke as a dog play does feel pretty good here in this spot because the man's hard to break. He's got the power edge. He's not going to quit. He's going to walk forward. He's going to make Malott uncomfortable, but that comes with risk because that also means he can get caught either lacking in the counter striking or, maybe get his neck snatched up in a grappling exchange. So I'm going to be picking Malott on paper, probably the official pick here. But in terms of a bet, give me Chuck Buffalo.
Yeah. 100%. And I'm with you there as well, too. I did not like how Mike Malott looked his last fight against Trevin Giles. I did not. I mean,
he fought safe, but it was a little too safe.
It was too safe. It was a guy that he should have gotten out of there.
You could tell the Magny fight, I think, messed him up just a little bit.
Humbled his ass.
Yeah.
Humbled him bad. So my thing is he going to come in the same way against Chuck? Because if you're giving Chuck Buffalo time to operate and catch you with a good shot, he's going to knock you the fuck out. I'm curious as to what his line's going to look like for the knockout, because I probably will sprinkle on it. Mike Malott should win this fight because I think he has the clear grappling edge. He technically is the more technical striker too. I think he makes better decisions. But the thing is, Chuck, he's not the most technical, but he does throw right down the middle. He does hit with power. He does know how to place his shots. And he is not afraid, and he is not a guy that lacks confidence. And he's going to walk forward. The only guy that's beaten Chuck at the UFC level is Carlos Prates. And that was with a knee to the body. Mike Malott, not a prolific body shotter. He's a guy that uses the striking to get to his wrestling and then uses his wrestling to get to his submission game. And yes, bro, we get it. You're from fucking Canada. We don't need to hear you in your whole press conference. Let's go Canada. I don't need to hear that shit.
Hey, he's a proud man,
man. I mean, it's annoying.
Did you know he was Canadian?
It's like a Limale McFarland. You know what I'm saying? But we know we get it. Well, you're Hawaiian.
Oh, she's Hawaiian. Yeah,
we get it. Yeah. We get it.
Did you know she was Hawaiian?
Oh my god.
She'll remind you.
I get it, man. But just give me Mike Malott. I'll say by sub or submit or decision. We'll see how we bet this close to the fight time.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have the Power Bar. MAB, Marc-André Barriault going one-on-one with Blandito Bruno Silva. Barriault is 16-9 overall, fighting out of Boca Raton, Florida, but repping Canada, 35 years old. Silva, 23-12 overall, repping Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 35 years old.
People gonna bleed, it's gonna get cut open, and somebody might die.
This fight is very interesting because I think it's going to be good while it lasts. I don't think it's going to go to distance.
Agreed.
If Silva looks anything like Silva 3 or 4 years ago, he's probably the side here. I think he's still maybe the side here. He's the better striker. He's got the better chin. He's never been knocked out. Barriault, on the other hand, tough.
Declining on the chin, though.
The chin is declining, but he's got the output. He's got the volume. He is going to have the hometown advantage as well. And he has looked like the better fighter as of late. Both these guys are on tremendous losing streaks. I think one's on a 3-fight losing streak. The other's on a 4. This is loser leaves town. Yeah. They both might get cut depending on how bad this fight looks. I think I want to pick the power bar here because he's looked a little more fresh. But if Bruno Silva looks like he's found the fountain of youth, this is one of these fights where I'm going to wait until weigh-ins, wait to see how he looks, because if Silva looks good, I think Silva's the side here. I think Silva knocks out Barriault. Give me MAB tentatively as of right now. This is definitely a pick that is going to change for me
throughout the week
once I see the weigh-ins.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like, again, if he looks anything like the old Bruno Silva, the Bruno Silva that's fought the better brand of competition, by the way, the Bruno Silva that's never been knocked out, that Bruno Silva wins.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here. And the reason I'm going to agree with you is because the only time Bruno Silva has lost is either by decision or submission. And there's a guy who's not going to submit him. There's a guy who's going to stand with him and give him the fight that he wants and the crowd wants. This is a fight, like you said, I think I'm going to wait till later in the week to give you a decisive pick. I'll lean Bruno Silva for podcast sake, just to be on the opposite side. But I might wind up on your side later in the week. I want to see how these guys are talking.
I might end up on your side by the end of the week, to be honest. So
yeah. Oh, you're on. You're on.
Oh, you're on.
You know, I just think that I have to see how these guys are talking. I want to see how they look on the scale. I want to see everything. And I want to see if anyone's on some Mexican supplements, even though they're in Canada, come fight week, because this is post-USADA. I got to see all of it. And that's how I'll be able to make a better decision.
Hey, listen, Canada's got tariffs with the U.S. They don't got tariffs with Mexico. That's all I'm saying. The goods are coming in.
What I do love in this fight is the unders. I do not think this goes to decision. I think this is going to be a slugfest until someone falls and stops fucking moving. Give me Bruno Silva, man, but not with a high degree of confidence. I'm curious as to what the line's going to look like later in the week, and then what the weigh-ins are going to look like and everything. This fight's too tough to call. So violence is the answer.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have Superman Brad Katona going 1-on-1 with the Turin warrior Bekzat Almakhan. Katona, 14-4 overall, fighting out of Dublin, Ireland, but repping Canada. 33 years old. Almakhan, 11-2 overall, fighting out of Kazakhstan, repping Kazakhstan, 27 years old. This is going to be a banger bantamweight fight, in my opinion. Two solid overall fighters. Brad Katona, the perennial, ranked contender, always in the mix. Solid striking, solid grappling. Going against a guy here in Almakhan who made a short notice debut against a very tough opponent in Umar Nurmagomedov and took that man all 15 minutes. It was an exciting grappling exchange style fight where he kind of gave Umar a run for his money in terms of the grappling. I think he gives Katona all he can handle here in the grappling. Where I do think Katona does have the striking advantage here, I don't know how he's going to be able to keep this fight standing for 15 minutes. I think once this fight hits the mat, I think it's Almakhan's fight to lose. I think he's the superior grappler. I think this fight probably goes the distance. Give me Almakhan here by decision just because of how tough Brad Katona is. But if the sub prop is sticking out wild crazy, that's something to circle for, a little bit of a betty bet later.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel bad for Brad because he's a very high fight IQ fighter, but it's like whoever's his matchmaker, whoever manages for him is not a very high fight IQ guy. Yeah, he gives them all fucking killers.
He gets tough fights, man.
And all the guys he's lost to, Marab, Garrett Armfield, what do they have in common? Stud wrestlers. This guy can wrestle, and he can wrestle at a high pace. So even though Brad's the hometown guy here, I just have a hard time seeing how he's going to keep him off of him. So Bekzat's credit, he can strike too. He's not bad. He gave Umar all he could handle on short notice. This guy is the goods. I'm surprised the line is at -175 for him, which means this is probably a parlay piece, or we're going to figure out another way to bet it. I'm going to lean Bekzat by submission or decision here. I agree with you more the decision because Brad is a tough motherfucker. He's hard to finish, but Bekzat's sub might be a nice play here because I do think he's going to find ways to get to his back and or beat him in wrestling exchanges. Give me Bekzat here by submission or decision.
Next fight on the card at men's bantamweight, we have the legend himself, Junior Jose Aldo, going 1-on-1 with Aiemann Zahabi. Aldo, 32-9 overall, fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, 38 years old. Zahabi, 12-2 overall, fighting out of Canada, repping Canada, 37 years old. This fight is kind of tough to break down because, I mean, Jose Aldo, obviously the legend, probably going to be the side here for me. The issue is Aldo doesn't fight the way Aldo used to fight. He's a little more low volume nowadays, doesn't use leg kicks as much, still stupid hard to take down, but completely satisfied with just a big clinch fest against the cage. Zahabi, not no spring chicken, but definitely less wear and tear on the tires. A high IQ fighter himself, a guy who definitely has punching power. I think it's going to be a stand-up affair for the most part. What I do probably like the most in this fight is that it is going to go to distance. I don't think nobody's going to finish anybody here. I can see this fight even going split majority. Give me Jose Aldo here. It's hard to pick against the man, even at his age here, even against his resume, by split majority. If you're going to bet it, go dog. Don't spend too much. Maybe even stay off of it. You know, I do like decisions. I do like overs. That's the way to play it. Aldo is going to be my pick.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Aldo's definitely in the lean here. He's sitting at a minus 230, which I think is a little wide, but I understand why. Aimann's not going to be able to take this guy down. And if he does take him down, he's not going to be able to hold him down for long. Aiemann has a very decent right hand. So Aiemann by knockout might look interesting.
If it's wide enough, I kind of don't hate that look.
Yeah, his right hand's very strong. Like, he has a very good right hand overhand. The thing is, I just feel like this is Jose Aldo's fight to lose. He's going to be able to cover ground fight better. He has the better boxing. He has way more fight experience. This is going to be the most explosive guy Zahabi's fought. And this is a guy that Zahabi's not going to be able to take down and probably manage distance against. I feel like Jose is going to be able to close distance, land damage, and hurt him. On the pre-build to this fight, you've seen Aiemann just basically saying it's just an honor to get in the octagon with him. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, I'm going to fuck this guy up. I'm not sure Aiemann is completely locked in or completely convinced he's going to win this fight, low key. I got to lean Aldo. I just don't know how to play it because I do feel like Aldo can finish him. Give me Jose Aldo here by knockout or decision, not with a high degree of confidence. Not sure how we're going to play this. We'll let you know close to the fight time. Follow us on all social media platforms as usual.
Next fight on the card at women's flyweight, we have Alexa Grasso going one-on-one with Natalia Silva. Grasso is 16-4-1, fighting out of Mexico, rep in Mexico, 31 years old. Silva is 18-5-1, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 28 years old.
This fight fucking rules.
I mean, I think almost every women's fight on this card fucking is amazing.
Amazing.
And I'm looking forward to each and every one of them. This one in particular as well. I think on the feet, this fight's going to be a marvel because Grasso, probably the better boxer, but Silva's got footwork, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee kind of offense where she's hard to kind of track down and keep you in front. She's going to be moving, sticking and moving. When this fight gets to the ground, pretty interesting because I do think Natalia Silva is probably better on the ground. I'd give her the jiu-jitsu edge. I'd probably give Grasso the wrestling edge, but it's a 50-50 on the floor as well. This fight is a 50-50. I think I want to pick Natalia here. As crazy as that sounds, I know, listen, Alexa Grasso, I mean, her most recent losses have literally come from the champ. She literally just fought a trilogy fight with Shevchenko. Silva, obviously a big step up for her, but not a huge step up. I mean, she's fought Jéssica Andrade. They've kind of groomed her the correct way here in terms of like, getting her steady competition. And Silva, what she's been doing with the competition is making it look easy for the most part. I don't want to say super easy, but she's been doing what she needs to do against the competition she's been fighting. Give me Silva here, probably by decision.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this really depends on what Alexa Grasso's mindset is. If she is determined to stop the takedowns, if there are any attempted takedowns, because she clearly didn't game plan at all for Shevchenko in that third fight when that was the only path to victory for the fucking girl. I have to hear how Grasso's talking this week to make like a clear determinate side pick here, but for now, I'll lean Natalia Silva because I know what she's going to do. I know she's going to fight off her back foot. I know she knows how to manage distance with her legs as well as her hands. I know she knows how to move out the way defensively. She makes a lot of good decisions. The thing is, she hasn't fought anyone with the boxing prowess of Grasso. Grasso has the best footwork that she's fought. Grasso does cut off the ring when she's at her best. Grasso also makes good decisions. Grasso also has good submission ability, man. I mean, this is a fucking fantastic fight. It's hard for me to really lean definitively on one side here. I'm going to lean Natalia Silva like you, but if Grasso tells me she shored up her takedown defense like Diego Lopez did, wink, wink, they're in the same camp, the same way he did against Volkanovski, I feel like Grasso has a very good chance to clip her here. This is a girl who has lost to Marina Rodriguez, another decent striker, a girl who knows how to close distance and land damage. And if we're being fair, I don't think Marina has the boxing that Grasso does. And if you're asking me what's going to be the more sufficient method to hitting your opponent, it's going to be the boxing. So for me, I got to see how Grasso's talking this week. But if Grasso's talking about cutting off the octagon and making better decisions and shoring up her wrestling defense, if she's really talking like that and definitively standing on business about it, I'll make a dog play here. But this might be a dog or pass spot just because this is a huge step up in competition for Natalia Silva. I know she beat Jessica Andrade her last fight, but Jessica Andrade is historically a girl who does not cut off the octagon, and Jessica was able to land on her. Give me Natalia Silva by decision just because of Grasso's durability, but I'm curious to see how Grasso's talking again once again this week, so all bets are off. Follow us on all social media platforms for a definitive bet, please.
Next fight on the card, and has currently constituted the co-main event of the evening for the flyweight title in the women's division. We have the champion, Valentina Shevchenko Bullet, going one-on-one with the beast, Manon Fiorot. Shevchenko is 24-4-1. The champion, fighting out of Peru, but repping Kyrgyzstan, 37 years old. The challenger, Manon, 12-1 overall. Fighting out of France, repping France, 35 years old.
Fantastic fight.
Great fight. A fight that Fiorot's been very patient in waiting for, because she had to wait literally for a trilogy to finish. A title fight that she probably, she's deserved for a while now. This is an interesting fight because I'm not saying Shevchenko doesn't have any kind of path to victory here. She's probably, again, flyweight GOAT, one of the best pound for pound women in the division ever, or in the game ever. She does have a path here. I think if Shevchenko is able to take Manon down, mixing grappling here, and use a lot of leg kicks, I think that's her way to win. Now, does she have success in doing that with Fiorot? That's tough, man, because Fiorot on the feet might be the more devastating striker here. Physically, the stronger woman. She's got the size, she's got the length. She's hard to take down. You can make the argument that this is not the best wrestler that Fiorot's fought, but at the same time, this might be the best fighter that has the best entries.
Yeah.
That being said, I think Fiorot is probably going to be my pick here. I mean, Shevchenko's 37. Fiorot, a whole nother beast. No pun intended. That's the nickname. I think she can hurt her on the feet. I think she can stuff the takedowns. What I do worry about is the leg kicks. Besides that, I think this is probably Fiorot's fight probably to lose, as spicy as that sounds, with the partial hometown advantage here. I mean, Canada is like half French anyway, right?
Yeah. French Canada.
Yeah, the crowd's gonna be on her side. I'm surprised you're not gonna hear Valentina bitch about having to fight in another enemy territory like she did last time.
She's a sore loser, man.
But I think she's a sore winner. She's just a sore person. Give me Fiorot here for the upset, though.
Yeah, it's funny. This fight's lined at a pick'em. I think there's value here because I think Manon and new, and I think Manon and new because everything you mentioned. She's a little younger. She's not much younger. She's 35. But the thing is, Shevchenko, it's not like the Aiemann Zahabi Jose Aldo fight, because Jose Aldo's 40 plus, Aimant's 37. But Jose's way more explosive than him. This fight, Manon's younger, and she's way more explosive, and she's the better athlete, and she's the bigger girl, and she has the longer reach. This fight has all the capability of being boring for a casual fan. I feel like this fight, that kind of fight favors Shevchenko because she gets to pick her shots and not really get caught with damage. She was able to hurt Rose in multiple instances in that fight, and Rose is very smart in terms of how she enters and exits, and Manon was able to capitalize. And Blanchfield got her down, and she popped right back up and then was not able to get her down for the rest of the fight. Blanchfield doesn't have the same entries as Shevchenko, but Blanchfield does have a degree of physicality that cannot be undermined here. I feel like Manon should be the favorite here, even though Valentina has more paths to victory. She has the better submission game, even though she's more of a crucifix girl. I just don't know if she's going to be able to bully Manon into that position like she does other girls, because Valentina is really good at using her physicality. Talia Santos is a girl who kind of showed you that if you're big enough for Valentina, you can give her some trouble. Manon hasn't been tested as much as you would like in the wrestling realm. She's not a dumb girl. She is very observant. Her takedown defense is exceptional. Give me Manon Fiorot by decision here. Pay attention to us on our social media platforms because she might get a heavy unit play. I can't speak for my brother, but for me, just because I feel like this is probably Valentina's toughest fight in the division. This is stylistically the toughest fight for Valentina out of all the girls. Even Natalia Silva, I don't think is a tougher fight for Valentina because she kind of gives up the back foot. Manon will hold center and land damage on counter shots. Give me Manon by decision here.
Next fight on the card, and is currently constituted the main event of the evening at welterweight for the welterweight championship. We have the champion, remember the name, Belal Muhammad, going one-on-one with no nickname, but I call him three-name Jack Della Maddalena, aka JDM. That's what the Twitter streets call him. JDM. Belal, 24-3 overall. The champion fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, but repping Palestine. 36 years old. Jack Della Maddalena, 17-2 overall. The challenger fighting out of Australia, repping Australia, 28 years old. Mama said never trust a man with three names. Particularly never trust a man with three first names. He doesn't have three first names, but he definitely has three names. Jack Della Maddalena. I'm a fan of the man. I think he's got underrated grappling. Obviously, his striking is, I don't want to say world class, but it's definitely elite.
It's very good.
He wants to strike with Belal here. I think Belal is probably going to get chinned.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good Jack Della's striking is. That being said, I'm going to be leaning Belal Muhammad here for the win. The wrestling edge is just too big, in my opinion. Also, Belal, very high IQ fighter, is probably not going to fuck around with Jack on the feet. He might initially, just to kind of throw him off a little bit, but it's going to be straight crotch sniffing, careless whispers, sexy time on the ground for Belal Muhammad. He's going to take Jack down and make sweet prison love to the man in front of a live arena audience.
In Canada.
He's going to expose them Canadians to some crazy shit. Not that Jack doesn't stand a chance on the ground. I actually think his ground game is a little underrated. It is a weakness for him, but it's underrated. That being said, if you like the Jack Della side, I think he wins this fight inside the distance, because if this fight goes the distance, JDM fucked up somewhere, because his striking is way too potent. His sub game is probably a little underrated. I think he can catch Belal if he needed to, if he wanted to. Remember the name, man. The guy's IQ is, phenomenal. He's not a dumb fighter. Very strong wrestler. He's going to have what it takes to control Jack Della, frustrate Jack Della. Give me Belal here for the win. As much as that pains me, because I'm a fan of JDM, three-name Jack. Remember the name for the win.
Yeah, I think Belal has a distinct advantage on him on the floor. The fact that he's sitting at only minus 220 on some of these books, I think is a little disrespectful towards him, because they have guys who don't finish just as much as him sitting at higher numbers. Jack creates good scrambles to get back up to his feet. I just think this is a guy who's a control wrestler, control over submission first. I think he's going to be able to manipulate where this fight goes, where it takes place. I think he can hang with Jack on the feet in certain instances, but not for long. Jack, if you're gonna play him, it has to be via knockout. I don't think he subs him. I think if that prop is plus 400 or 500, you sprinkle on it. Belal might dog walk him. That's how much of a distinct advantage Belal has on him on the floor. I feel like there's going to be opportunities for Belal to get a choke in. Gilbert Burns, I've been saying this for years, he's a fucking lightweight, was able to win 14 minutes of that fight against JDM until JDM landed the fucking that magical knee and just got him out of there. I just feel like unless that happens, Belal's gonna fuck him up. Give me Belal Muhammad by submission or decision here, but if that knockout prop for JDM looks nice, we sprinkle on it a little bit, just because of Belal's questionable chin. But remember the name, will be remembered. These books I feel like are not doing him injustice. He could look at easily a minus 800 in this fight, just because he's gonna be able to control him. So the fact that he's sitting at only minus 2, they almost want you to play him. Don't be surprised if I put some units on Belal. Come fight time. Once again, follow us on all social media platforms. You know the routine.
And that does it, ladies and gentlemen, for our UFC 315 coverage. But moving right along to the sweet science, we're going to jump right into it with a main event happening in the land down under, featuring Jai Opetaia going one-on-one with Claudio Sequeiro. This is for the Ring Magazine and IBF World Cruiserweight title. Don't know if this is a mandatory fight or not, but feels like it. The champion, Opetaia, perfect. 27-0. Fighting out of Australia, repping Australia, 29 years old, going one-on-one with the contender, Claudio Sequeiro. Perfect. 16-0. The challenger is fighting out of Italy, repping Italy, 34 years old.
Yeah, this fight is a little bit of a mismatch in terms of skill, but the gentleman from Italy does have power. He does wing his punches, which is why I think skill-wise, this is a complete mismatch. I think that it probably is for the IBF mandatory, because why else would Jai be fighting this guy, to be frank?
Yeah, I feel like this is a mandatory fight. It's not confirmed, but this, I mean, it's the IBF title, so it's the IBF. They love to force mandatories all over the place.
Or it's just a stay busy fight, which either or, it doesn't matter. I feel like the skill differential is huge here. He's going to have the height and reach advantage on this guy. He wings his punches. He doesn't throw down the pipe. He has real power. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like Jai has shown a real chin, and Jai has fought the way better brand of competition and is much lighter in his feet. He's just a better athlete. This is going to be a little bit of a mismatch. I'm curious as to what the unders are. I like those. I also like the knockout for Alpatai. I think this fight, along with probably the rest of the fights this weekend, is going to get done by knockout. So we'll keep it going from here, but Jai Alpatai by knockout is the way to play this.
Moving right along from the land down under to San Diego, California, we have a couple of fights we want to cover from the top rank side. Starting with the co-main event for the interim IBF World Lightweight title, we have the champion, Raymond Danger Muratalla. I hope I got that correctly. Going one-on-one with the contender here, Tsar Abduliev.
Nailed it.
Woo.
I think you got it. Yeah.
I'm going to call the man Tsar. Muratalla is perfect. 22-0. Fighting out of California, 28 years old. Tsar is 20-1 overall. Fighting out of Russia, but repping Armenia, 31 years old.
Yeah, so Tsar only has one loss. It's to Devin Haney. Devin Haney was able to stop him, I believe, in the 4th round because he supposedly fractured his face. That's a little bit concerning considering he's going against a real power puncher in this fight. Devin Haney could have knocked air out of a bag. Sorry, not sorry, just the truth. If you're asking me, I feel like Tsar can present Muratalla with some decent challenges because this is probably the best competition that Raymond has fought. Devin Haney was able to style on Tsar with the footwork and the jab as well as with the athleticism. Raymond doesn't jab like Devin Haney, but he has the athleticism, supreme boxing ability, especially body punching, and very lethal power. Tsar, a little flat-footed, kind of like a north-south fighter, kind of moves up and down, pause, doesn't cut angles, cuts angles on his offense, doesn't cut angles on his defense as much as you like him to. In my opinion, this is Ray's fight to lose. I think Ray finds his body with a good shot here after he breaks down the headshots, drops him with a body shot, gets him out of there. I wonder what the over-under is going to be on this fight as well. But if you're asking me, just like our boy in the previous fight, I think Ray's going to find a pack-up moment here.
They would have been packing them up.
Give me Ray Muratalla by knockout here. Curious as to the unders, Ray by knockout is the play.
And moving right along to the main event, last but not least for the WBO World Super Featherweight title, we have Emanuel Navarrete going one-on-one with Charly Suarez. Navarrete is 39-2-1, the champion fighting out of Mexico, rep in Mexico, 30 years old. Suarez is perfect, 18-0, fighting out of the Philippines, rep in the Philippines, 36 years old.
Yeah, this fight is Emanuel Navarrete's to lose. Charly Suarez is a guy who likes to fight off his back foot, good counter puncher, knows how to fight behind the jab. The problem is he's a little older in this contest. He hasn't fought anyone like Navarrete, a guy who can really get downhill on you with volume. He's gonna be undersized in this fight. Navarrete hits you from weird angles with volume. Did stop Oscar Valdez in his last fight, even though Oscar Valdez might be a little shop-worn. This is a fight where Charly, you have to hope that Charly can catch him with a good counter shot. Charly is not a very good power puncher, and he doesn't have the footwork of Dennis Borenchek, who was the last person to beat Navarrete. Navarrete's probably going to get this done by mid to late round stoppage because he is not the biggest puncher, but he does put his punches together in volume, and he's a builder, slow starter. Give me Navarrete by mid to late round stoppage here, and that's a clean sweep of all of our boxing picks this weekend. I think it's going to be knockout central. Give me Navarrete to be the icing on the cake for a knockout this weekend.
And that does it, ladies and gentlemen, for this week's combat coverage. We ain't got nothing else to say, so my brother, just take us home.
Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Love you guys. Episode 99 in the books. Erickson Lubin also fights this weekend. If you have any questions about that fight, drop it in the comments. Show us some love. We like the comments. We like to respond to those fights as well. Love you guys. See you next week for the milestone of episode 100. Holla at y'all. Keep the subs coming. See you next time. Later.